Hello, how may I help you?
I just moved here. I was the best musician in my old school. I should be placed in your top ensemble.
I see. Well, let me ask you for some background information.
I have studied privately for 3 years. I got a 1 at solo contest every year. My solos were always memorized. I have the medals on my wall at home, but I can bring them.
No, that's fine, I believe you. Are you familiar with your major scales?
Of course. I can play all of my scales, many of them in 2 octaves, and I can play them very fast.
Great. What is the major key with one flat?
One flat is B flat.
Yes, but what is the name of the major key?
I just told you it is one flat, B flat.
There is one flat, and it is a B flat, yes. But that is not the same as the name of the key. The name of the major key is F.
Okay, whatever, same thing.
So what would be the fourth step of that scale?
I don't know. But I can play the scale for you.
If you can play it, then surely you can tell me the fourth step.
I never had to tell my other director, I simply played the scale. This proves I know the scale. And I can play it in 2 octaves very fast.
I see. Let's move on. Could you tell me the order of the flats?
Of course. It is B, E, A, D, G, C, and F.
That's correct. And if a major key had 3 flats, what would they be?
I don't know.
But you just told me the order of the flats.
Yes, do you want me to tell you again? They are B, E, A, D, G, C, and F. We had to memorize that.
Yes, and you did a good job. What is the order of the sharps?
It is the opposite of the order of the flats.
Correct. So if a major key had 2 sharps, what would they be?
I don't know.
Okay. Let's talk about time signatures.
Okay. I know all about it. In 4/4 there are 4 beats per measure and the quarter note gets the beat.
That's true. And can you explain what this means, in your own words?
It means there are 4 beats per measure and the quarter note gets the beat. I just told you that.
Yes. Yes, you did. Now let's say the meter is 6/8. What would be the value of a quarter note in 6/8 time?
A quarter note gets 1.
Is that always the case?
Yes, of course. Do you not know that? Everyone knows that. Have you been teaching very long?
So what does 6/8 in the time signature tell us?
It tells us that there are 6 beats per measure and the 8th note gets the beat.
That is correct. So what is the value of an 8th note in 6/8 time?
An 8th note gets 1/2. 2 8th notes make a quarter note. And
a quarter note gets 1 beat. Yes, I see where you are going with this.
Okay, so as you can see, I know what I am doing. I assume I will be in the top ensemble? My parents will be calling you later to confirm this, and my former director will be emailing you.
Awesome.
Hello, Mr. Black. I understand you teach my daughter the cornet?
Yes, that is correct. Forgive me, which girl is your daughter? I have 47 pupils.
You must know her, Felicity. She is very talented. Probably the most talented pupil you have.
Ah, yes, Felicity. She is a very committed girl. She is special.
Yes, she is extremely talented. I used to play the flute when I was young. I did up to grade 5 and got a merit in my exam.
That is impressive. Your flute playing background must be where Felicity gets her brass playing skills from.
Yes, I was very good. Anyway, I need Felicity to have lessons outside of her class time, at lunchtime. She must have her lessons on a Tuesday at 12:45 until 1:15.
I'm afraid I'm not in school on a Tuesday. And I tend to eat my lunch at lunchtime.
That could be a problem. Felicity's class teacher has decided that 30 minutes a week is an unacceptable amount of time for Felicity to be out of class. She has fell behind with her coloring in.
I can appreciate the difficulties, but I'm afraid I'm not in on Tuesday. I'm in on a Friday, and could perhaps see Felicity at 1:30. This way she will only miss 10 minutes off class time. I can eat quickly, and don't really need any time to speak to the other teachers or indeed any other adults at all. My pupils are my life.
That is no use. Felicity has a meditation time on a Friday from 1:26 until 1:56. It is very important to her. She is struggling to cope with being 7. She is a talented girl, you know. I thought you'd be wanting to help incorporate her into your schedule better.
Fine. I will come in on a Tuesday lunchtime specifically to see Felicity. Is there anything else?
Good. Now when will Felicity be doing her first exam?
Felicity has only had 2 lessons. Last week she tried to buzz into the bell of her cornet, and then she fell off her seat.
So it will probably be next term then? Will it be grade 1 or grade 2? Can you give her the music she needs? Can you give her extra lessons nearer the exam?
I don't want to commit to a firm timetable just yet. I will give you a list of the books to buy for Felicity's exam pieces.
Can't you just give her photocopies of the pieces?
I'm afraid that's illegal. The books are very cheap.
Can you buy them for me and put them on my next invoice?
I could do that, but as you haven't paid the bill from last time.
So that's decided. Thank you. I would like Felicity to play at the upcoming music festival. What should she play?
I would suggest it may be too early for her to perform in public. Felicity needs to practice a bit more before.
I would like her to play the Pink Panther. I played this piece on the flute when I was 12, and I was very good at it. I would like to play this piece with Felicity in the festival.
The Pink Panther is a bit tricky for beginners. Maybe a simpler piece would be better.
I have already been practicing the Pink Panther on my flute, so it will have to be that. Felicity could accompany me on the cornet. She is very talented.
Great. The flute and cornet duo market is an untapped resource of musical fulfillment. I'm sure it will be superb.
I agree. I am sure we will win. Music is all about competition, isn't it? I want Felicity to be better than Asterixia, the girl who plays the tenor horn in her class. Asterixia's mother played the flute with me when I was at school. She did grade 7. Felicity must be better than Asterixia.
I prefer not to make the pupils compete. Music should be about fun and happiness. The girls learn to express themselves and gain confidence from playing instruments.
I agree. I have told Felicity that she must pass her first exam with a distinction or we shall have her pony sent away to a special place. Felicity is very talented. I expect you to make sure she gets a distinction.
We shall see how Felicity progresses. It took her 10 minutes to open her case at last week's lesson. I could have helped her, but I hadn't had any lunch as I had had to see some pupils who forgot to come to their lessons, so I ate a cereal bar instead. I like teaching Felicity.
I'm not surprised. She is very talented. I have to go now. I practice the flute for 3 hours every afternoon.
That's an excellent example to be setting to Felicity. I hope she doesn't do that much practice.
Felicity isn't allowed to play her cornet in the house as it gives me a headache. She practices in the car on the way to school on the day of her lesson.
Excellent. That's plenty.
Yes. I will send payment to you sometime in the next month or so. Goodbye.
Actually, lessons are meant to be paid for in advance, so if you could.
Goodbye now.
A check is fine.
Bye.
Portia. It's been too long. Seriously. I've missed you. How are you?
Ah. Frangela, how are you? What are you doing here in school? Is Asterixia okay? I hope she is not ill.
No, Asterixia is fine. Why are you here? Is there anything wrong with Felicity? I hope not. She's such a lovely girl. I heard she recently had an incident with the school hamster. I'm sure it's nothing to worry about. Lots of children go through that chewing phase. She is such a spirited girl. You must be so proud.
Yes, we are. I'm here to see Mr. Black. He teaches Felicity the cornet. It's like a disabled trumpet. Does Asterixia play an instrument? I can never remember.
Yes, she plays the tenor horn. She recently received a distinction for her grade 3. Did you not hear? I put a notice in the local newspaper, and had the certificate presented at the assembly, and had the local radio station play a recording of Asterixia playing the Pink Panther on her horn. The examiner said it was rhythmically adequate and sometimes pitched correctly. We are so proud. I think she gets her musical talent from me. I played the flute, you know. I did grade 7. But of course you'll remember that. What did you do again? Grade 2?
It was grade 5 actually. And I got a merit. The examiner said my scales were almost adequate. I could have done grade 7. I was just too busy with my gymnastics.
Indeed. Anyway, I must find Mr. Black. I want Asterixia to enter the school music competition and win this year. Last year she was only 2nd. It was terrible. We stopped her extra maths tuition because she had let us down so badly. How did Felicity do in last year's music competition? Did she enter?
Felicity only began playing last term, so she didn't enter the last music competition. However, Mr. Black has told me that he fully expects her to win this year. He has said Felicity is the most naturally talented musician he's ever taught. Ever. He thinks she could be the next Louis Armstrong. That is why I'm here. Mr. Black wanted to congratulate me personally on raising such a prodigious daughter.
That does not sound like Mr. Black. I've never seen Mr. Black excited about anything. He seems like he may be a bit dead inside. Asterixia has told me he sometimes cries in their lessons together. I do not understand why he complains. He is a musician. Musicians have such easy lives, playing tunes and occasionally teaching very talented children like my Asterixia. And he also gets to spend some time with special girls like Felicity.
No, he definitely said Felicity was amazing. Although I don't understand why he isn't here now. I told him I was coming in at lunchtime today to discuss Felicity's program for the music competition. I want Felicity to win the competition. I have paid Mr. Black lots of money and I must have some sort of competitive certification to show for it. Something I can put on the wall and show my family when they visit at Christmas.
Yes, I do understand that. Asterixia practices for an hour every day. The nanny gets her up at 6 and she begins every day with her tenor horn practice before her hour's ballet training. By the time I get up at 11:30, Asterixia has learned more than most working-class children learn in a month. I do like Mr. Black. Apparently he has music degrees. Imagine that. Music degrees. That's like a doctor of making noise. Ridiculous.
Yes. I agree. It's funny when he complains about not getting paid. It's like he thinks he has a real job.
Very good. Real job. Anyway, I think it's time to go. I don't think he is coming. These artistic types are all the same. Impossible to tie down to a normal schedule like us. I have to go to my weekly hair appointment.
Yes, I have to get to my manicure appointment before I practice my flute.
What? You still play the flute? Why? What's the point in that? You're an adult. Are you joking?
Of course. I'm only joking. Why would I still play my flute? That would be ridiculous.
Thank goodness for that. Learning an instrument is what children do, and music is what people who don't want to live in the grown-up world like us do to fill their time. Of course you know that already.
Yes, of course you are right. I was just joking about the practice. I don't practice my flute every day. For 3 hours. Of course not. Good luck to you and Asterixia for the music competition. I hope it goes well for you.
I'm sure it shall. Good luck to you and Felix.
Felicity.
Yes. Of course. Felicity. I'm sure she will play. Something. Yes.
She will. She will win.
We will see. We will see.
Mr. Black. I need to speak to you about the Christmas concert. I am nervous.
I'm sorry? What? Why are you nervous, Mrs. Too Big Lexus?
You were not in school last week, when we needed to rehearse the Christmas Pink Panther for the concert. I feel unprepared. I think it is all going to go wrong. Felicity does not want to play. I had to promise to buy her a car when she is 14, so she can sit in it and eat cake. Why weren't you in last week? You should have been in school teaching. You get paid huge amounts of money to teach Felicity.
Well, yes. I do get paid huge amounts of money. Compared to a homeless crack fiend, I get paid a fortune. I have 2 degrees. My brother left school when he was 14, is medically officially retarded, and he makes twice what I make in a year selling wheelchairs for cats. Seriously. Wheelchairs for cats. How does that work? I have 2 degrees. There was 6 feet of snow last week. 4 people died in my street alone. I couldn't find my car for 3 days and the school was closed all week. Why would I be in to teach?
You should have came to my house. It's very big, you can't miss it. We have to rehearse for the Christmas concert. Felicity keeps forgetting the fingering for the second note she has to play. She only has 2 notes to play. You must be a terrible teacher.
I do consider that possibility often. However, I use the poo in the wall analogy to justify getting out of the bed every morning. If you throw enough poo at the wall, some of it will stick and some of it will not. Felicity, I'm afraid, is at best some poo clinging desperately to the wall. But she is persistent. I'm sure she will stick.
My flute needs fixed. Will you fix my flute?
You're not at all concerned. I just compared your daughter to Sticky Poo.
What? Who? No. My flute is broken, and you must fix it. It's bent. Felicity mistook it for a shiny snake, and jumped on it. She said that she'd heard Santa send snakes as spies, and she was concerned her recent incident with the gardener, the lawnmower and a pineapple would be considered naughty.
I would be glad to straighten your flute out. It's probably really easy to do. Last week I paid a professional repairman £400 to have a dent taken out of my trombone, but I'll be happy to straighten the whole flute for free. What could possibly go wrong?
Good. You can fix it tonight, when you come to my house to rehearse.
I'm sorry?
You must come to my house tonight, to rehearse the Christmas Pink Panther. We need to practice it for the concert next week. You must make up the missed lesson time now. When I say. When it suits me. Which is tonight.
I'm afraid it doesn't quite work like that. I'm busy this evening. I will be rescheduling missed lessons for January.
What can you possibly be doing? Are you teaching? Are you playing your trombone in a concert? Why aren't you free when I say? I don't understand. I pay you lots of money.
Well, you paid me some money. Half of what you actually owe me, to be honest. I was just too glad to say anything. I had chips that night. What a crazy night. I was so happy.
Didn't Felicity give you the Christmas gift gave her to give you? She should have gave you a present. It was expensive. More expensive than the present Asterix's mother bought, I'm sure. Did she eat the gift? Like the soap set I gave her to give to her class teacher. She was a foamy mess.
No. She did give me the chocolates. And a card. I thought it was maybe a check. I actually cried a bit. Felicity spotted the moment of weakness and hit me with her cornet, then ran away. She is really very special.
Felicity is very talented. So I shall see you tonight at 6. We can rehearse until 9. You can repair my flute, and then we can practice until 9. Remember to bring the sleigh bells, or the whole Christmas aspect of the piece will be lost, and there will be no point in doing it. It will be strange playing the Pink Panther at Christmas without sleigh bells.
You are right. The festive quality provided by sleigh bells must never be underestimated. I will come. I will cancel the dinner I had planned with the beautiful violinist I met last week in the big Scottish orchestra. I don't mind another year of being alone.
Good. Do not be late. Remember your flute repairing tools and the sleigh bells. Please do not turn up drunk. I know what musicians are like at this time of year.
Yes. We are bags of fun at this time of year. I have 37 Christmas concerts in the next 9 days. I hate Christmas. I wake up in the middle of the night screaming the chorus of Jingle Bells. If I hear about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer again, I may need to hit someone with a bat. Santa Claus is a big hairy idiot.
Yes, it is a magical time of year. Please do not be off school ever again. Felicity's progress will be hampered if you do not come in to teach her. I shall see you tonight.
Yes. I look forward to it. And sorry. I will risk my life next time the weather is bad and the school is closed to drive into school to teach a pile of tone-deaf delinquents not to put their instruments in their eyes. You are right.
I usually am. That is what my husband says. As he wanders off to his private office to do important work all night. On his own.
So tonight then?
Yes, Mr. Black. Remember the sleigh bells. And your Santa hat.
I shall. I won't forget. I won't ever forget.
Hello, Mr. Mills.
Hello, Principal Simpleton.
I need you to take the band to Bob Loblaw Elementary to perform for their tax pep rally.
Why, sure. We'd love to go. We love to support one of our main feeder schools. What is the date and time?
It's tomorrow at 2 p.m. They want you to play something the kids can dance to. You know, pop tunes and hip-hop music, something to get them excited about taking the test.
Whoa. Wait, Mr. Simpleton, that is too short of notice for us to prepare. You must understand that this is the peak of our concert contest preparation season and we haven't touched any pep rally music for months. It would take us at the very least a couple of days to prepare for this.
Now you just making excuses. I don't understand why you band directors think you so special. The band should be ready to perform at a drop of a hat, no matter what the type of music we ask you to play, or how short of a notice we give you.
Mr. Simpleton, I don't think you understand what goes into preparation for any performance we do. I don't like to just throw anything together because it's beneath my standards as an educator, musician, and most importantly a professional. I would think that is the reason you hired me for the band director job.
Oh, don't give me that. Anyone can do your job. All you band, orchestra, and choir directors do is wave your arms around and stuff happens. You can't pull the wool over my eyes. I was in the band in high school, so I'm an expert on the subject.
With all due respect, sir, that does not make you an expert.
Yes, it does, because I'm an administrator and nothing I ever say is wrong. I know everyone's disciplines better than they do, even though I have never taken any certification courses in it. When I put my finger in the ground, the world stops spinning.
Wow. I should point out that the EC through 12 certification test is one of the hardest content exams in the state of Texas, so no. Not anyone can do my job, and personally I am offended that you would even imply that, sir.
You are being insubordinate now. I'm going to have to write you up.
Why? Because I disagreed with your opinion?
That's exactly why. Music isn't even an important subject. You aren't as important as the core curriculum. Fine arts in general aren't even important to a child's well-rounded education.
I had my suspicions about you and the rest of the administration thinking that way, but you actually confirmed my thoughts with what you said. So I guess that's why you allowed the math and reading department to take kids out of band to double block them in tax remediation, despite the fact that it has been scientifically proven that students who are involved in music programs tend to have more success in core curriculum because of the higher order thinking skills that are utilized in reading music or playing an instrument.
Yes, we pulled them during school, but you can have them after school for practice.
And how is that? There are also mandatory text tutorials after school that you are requiring 80% of the enrollment to go to from 4 to 5 p.m., and then expect us to begin our rehearsals at 5 and go to 6, after they have been school for 8 hours plus the extra hour, with no transportation provided for the kids after the rehearsals end.
You need to figure it out yourself, Mr. Mills. It's not my job to figure out the best way to arrange a schedule that is mutually beneficial to everyone on this campus.
But I thought you were the administrator.
Yes, I am, but I am too busy making sure teachers are not wearing open-toe shoes, have their shirts tucked in, and that they are at duty stations, and making sure we all get that big bonus check for tax to care about your program, even though you are the face of our campus and the reason many parents choose to send their kids here.
Wow.
Anyway, you had better find a way to have the band ready for that performance. No excuses.
Okay. I will do what I can, but I need to be able to pull the kids from class at least an hour before the performance tomorrow to try to prepare. Can I do that?
Yes, that's fine, but if teachers don't want to release the band students, there is nothing I can do.
I thought you were the administrator.
I can't tell them how to run their classes.
So let me get this straight. You want me to prepare my band to play at a performance with less than a day's notice, threaten my job status if I don't, demand that I respect your authority, yet you are telling me that you won't use your power to make sure that my students get out of class to rehearse so we won't make the school look bad?
That's right, I'm the boss and what I say goes, Mr. Mills, and if you don't do it, I will take that as a sign of insubordinate behavior, and you will be severely reprimanded for it.
Can I ask a question?
What do you want to know?
How long have you known about this tax pep rally?
I hardly see how this matters, but I was called last week.
Wow.
Music is older than math, it's older than agriculture, it's older than money, it's older than laws. We've had music since before there were even, tribes of people larger than 15 living together. They're older than cities. Music's older than cities. They found a couple summers ago in a cave in Germany bone flutes that they estimate are over 70,000 years old, carved from bone with tone holes. They analyzed the tone holes and figure it's an Aeolian scale, a natural minor scale, a scale we would recognize today.
The arts have proven themselves to be as important as anything. The kind of energy that is exchanged in the friendship and tolerance and understanding of other people, or acceptance of differences in people, are all smoothed and made possible and encouraged through music.
When I taught middle school and high school, I saw kids go from being just real shrinking violets and socially very unsure to, because of their development as an artist, because of their growing ability as a musician, become more confident, outgoing people.
You can play in your community, you can play in your church, in the park, at schools. It doesn't have to be the kind of thing where you're aspiring to be a professional musician. To get the gains from this and to share those positive elements with people in general.
It's this holistic internal development that schooling in the U.S. and certainly culture in the U.S. does not encourage, nor does it foster. And music education hits those things right on the bullseye. What I think living is about, relationships with other people and sharing our experiences of the world with one another.
The younger the child is, the more important that teacher is to the process. And with that said, bringing their middle school band students to an event such as the National Concert Band Festival, to an event of this caliber and this quality, what it does again is cement the vision for that child, for them to be able to see, wow, look, I can do this.
You don't have to be the greatest virtuoso on any instrument to be successful. What you do have to be is genuine.
Creative expression is something that I think is a basic component of being a whole human and being a healthy human. And I think that arts programs really challenge kids at a very critical time in their life, immediately before adolescence and through adolescence, to be reflective and to be cooperative. And isn't that really the threshold from childhood to adulthood? The collective effort, the goodwill that teaches kids to feel towards one another when someone's got a flute solo and everyone in the room wants them to do well. Everyone wants them to do well, because if that person does well, we all do well. That sort of value is, I think, cannot be underestimated in the life and the development of a kid.
When you step back and you look at all the facets, all the things that this organization has done for so many people, then you have something of impeccable value.
What we see Music for All being is that shining light that allows people to see that there's hope for music education.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I've asked if the lights could be lifted for this session, and David Glover agreed. And the reason, thank you very much, is I like to see the whites of your eyes. And I like to see you as my class. I hope you've all made the connection that music is an incredibly important part of what has been happening today. We started with the didgeridoo, an improvisation on this extraordinary instrument. We then saw a film that had been put together showing how TEDx was set up, and music actually made that film work. Without music, that film would have been a very different film. We then saw The Rabbit, that had music, a tragic end for the rabbit, but nonetheless music. And then we have had Synergy, whose piece, their percussion piece, was an improvised piece. I spoke to Brie afterwards and I said, that's clearly improvised. And she said, yes, we work on a particular pattern. We take that pattern and every time we perform that piece, we do it differently. And then we had a string quartet, which included amplified sounds with improvisation, structures on which other structures had been imposed. This is the creative process. This is the process which starts with an idea which comes from the imagination, the musical imagination. And when the musical imagination is ignited in a group circumstance, we have the most extraordinary power to change lives with music and to involve people in music. And it should start with very, very, very young children, not teenagers. Not that it's you can't start. I've taught teenagers who have had their first experience with music as teenagers. But my view is that all of that improvisation, all of that creativity you saw on the stage today is the right of every child, no matter where and no matter what the circumstance. Every child, I believe, should have access to properly taught music in the hands of a properly taught teacher. And it can start in the simplest way. Music is an oral art. And when I talk about music, I define it as sound organized in some way, passing through time. With children, we begin with imitation, the most powerful way of teaching. And if you don't mind becoming 3-year-olds, just for a minute, I promise you, a minute, I'll make my point. I'm going to clap a pattern. I want you to clap it back. You're clearly not 3, but here's another one. What you'll notice is you accelerate, you get louder, and you don't actually do the pattern properly. Now, which means you are educable. You can be taught. When you do that with children, what you are doing is you're engaging them in their first oral experience. They need to listen, and as a result of the listening, they repeat, and it requires focus. When this happens, and we take a very simple nursery rhyme, and we say, with children, we go, Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall, Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. We do this little pattern. I frequently say to the children, very young children, who can do a different pattern? Child one puts hand up and goes, Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. I say, thank you very much. Who can do a different pattern? Humpty Dumpty sat. And then the next child will say, when will this be over? All teaching is an act of faith. And with children, the idea that repetition and putting them in the circumstance of offering ideas is vital. Music is important for the following reasons. It is abstract. It doesn't mean anything outside itself. But when we play a sound, you can interpret that sound as you wish. I'm going to go to the TEDx Steinway. And it is a Steinway. David Glover sampled his Steinway, and I'm going to play some sounds. Those sounds are abstract. They mean nothing other than themselves. If I then say, I'm going to play a composition, and it's called something, I want you to imagine what this composition might be called. Does anyone have an idea of what that composition might be called? Probably highly forgettable. But in each person, that sort of music, any music, will evoke a different response. Music does not describe, music does not narrate, music does not tell stories. Music evokes, music suggests, music implies, and music opens up the mind of a child in an extraordinary way. And I want to give you some ideas on that, back to the Steinway. These three pieces deal with night. Clair de Lune of Debussy. A little night music of Mozart. The Moonlight Sonata of Beethoven. They have nothing to do with night whatsoever. The title is simply a way in. But this abstraction about music is what offers a child the chance to move into a really special world of thinking. And we get children, therefore, to try to understand that the most important thing about music is to make your own music. Children must make their own music. It is not that they shouldn't reproduce music, but they must make their own. And they make it best through singing. That every child, given normal circumstances, has the capacity to sing. You all have the capacity to sing. Shall we test that? Yes, we shall. I'll give you a little phrase, and I'd like you to sing it back. La 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 la. La 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 la. Pitch better than rhythm for you lot. Very good. Now, what about if I give you a little pattern here, like foot, hand, foot, hand. Just try that, foot, hand, and then sing this back. La 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 la. La 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 la. Now sing the whole thing from the beginning. Go. Exactly. When in doubt, improvise. All right? Through singing is how we engage every child. Through singing is how we teach children to be literate, to read and write. Through singing is how we teach children to analyse. I was working with a group of first-grade girls, and we were doing a song about patty cake, and I had the pitch on the board. Not they could read the pitch, but I believe they should confront the example. And throughout the lesson, we do numbers of activities. And at one stage, I said to them, let's look at the song on the board. What do you notice? And they said, one put a hand up and said, it goes up. And I said, it goes down. This little bright button at the end of the line said, well, there are crotchets and minims in that song. And everyone else in the class went, oh. So at the end of the lesson, I like to make a summary. What have we done? It's very important for me to find out what we have done. So all sitting on the floor, I'm sitting there with him and I said, what did we do today? Nothing. That's a very common response, nothing. We just jumped or we clapped and we sang. And they went through, I finally got out what they did, and this one put a hand up and said, well, we learnt about crotchets and minims, but I had to teach it. What was interesting was watching the kids go, yeah, that's true. So the next day, another song is on the board. And all these lessons are being videoed, they're being taped. Another song on the board, we're observing the notation. And at the end of the lesson, I bring them all together. And I said, now what do you notice about the notation today, the pattern? It goes up, it goes down, it does this. And she was sitting right there and she looked up at me and she said, they haven't got a clue. Which was tolerated by the rest of the class, that concept. They probably agreed. With music, you open up the mind of a child in a very special way. Different from drama, different from dance, different from visual arts. There was a movement which said all the arts work the same way. When we went through the touchy-feely 60s. That is simply not true. The arts function in different ways, and music, in my view, is at the top of the food chain. The drama people tend not to agree with me on that, but I also put dance in there. But what I want to say is that the power of the creative thought transferred from music to all other areas of learning is hugely potent. The evidence, the neurological evidence for music is in a spectacular way. That's a bonus. Music is worth teaching for its own sake. It is worth teaching because it is good. It is worth teaching because it is unique. It is worth teaching because it empowers children spectacularly. And when you get a 5th grade boy who comes up with a piece of music and says, look, I made this myself, with that sort of threat, you know it's working. Thank you.